to make a cake a couple of weeks ago, and I decided to film this tutorial on how to use this new product from Marvelous Molds called Simpress. I decided to use the one with the sequins. If you like this type of tutorial, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So let's get started with the tutorial. Here is the Simpress, and I will show you up close how nice and detailed this product is. And I will be honest, this is the first time I'm using the product, so this was really a true test because I have never used it before. So you are gonna be using this product with me for the first time. I personally don't like to work with cornstarch in my silicone molds most of the time, so I coat my silicone with some shortening. Just make sure that you do a very light coat of shortening. And here is my fondant. It's a nice navy blue. For my fondant, I like to put some shortening in my hands and make sure that my fondant is nice and soft and not dry. With a rolling pin, you want to roll your fondant and stretch it, and you want the fondant to be around 1/8 of an inch in thickness. For this type of project, I tend to work on top of a cell board, and you can see that I don't have to use cornstarch, and if you do, it will have to be a very small amount. That way, you won't have the cornstarch transferred to your fondant, which is awesome because then you don't have any cleanup. Once your fondant is rolled, you can place it on top of your Simpress, and this one I am using is called Jubilee. Because this has a lot of pattern, you want to make sure to press very well everywhere. Pressing is key. You want to make sure that the pattern is transferred all around the fondant. As you can see, the fondant does not surpass the place where the fondant is supposed to be cut, and that's important. Once you have pressed it really nicely, you can use a rolling pin and make sure that it's cut all around the edge. Once you take the fondant away, you want to make sure that everything is clean, all the edges are clean. So you want to kind of pass your finger all around the edge, and sometimes you can even press towards the inside to make sure that you don't have pieces of fondant hanging on the corners. One thing I love about these molds is that they are stretchy, so you stretch them so everything can detach from the mold. You can always use cornstarch if you feel the shortening doesn't help you detach it. There's two ways to attach these molds to a cake, and it will work on top of fondant or buttercream. The first way is by adding glue to the back of the fondant. Just brush everything all around it and make sure that it has a nice coat of glue. You can also use some Tylose glue. I already attached one section, and I did this so you can see that this mold actually connects very well section by section. You can see the shape. All you have to make sure is that the border connects to the next border. The mold has one side that has no lip and then one that has a lip at the top. You want to make sure that the bigger lip goes to the top so the bottom part can hit the edge of the cake. At this point, I am pressing the fondant towards the edge to make sure it hits in the perfect area. After that, I make sure that my border at the bottom is straight, and I press lightly all around to make sure that it attaches to the cake. Once you do this, you can detach the rest of the Simpress away from the cake. With a very light touch, you want to press and make sure that it's connected properly. Once on the cake, you want to lightly press it with your whole hand and make sure that it's attached to the cake well. Do not press hard, you don't want to lose the pattern. The other way you can do this is by putting your mold on top of some wax paper and place it in the freezer for around 5 minutes until it cools down. That way it will harden up and you can attach them without the mold. You can see in here how easily it detaches and how beautiful of a pattern it leaves on the fondant. It covers a big area, it is a beautiful design, and you move fast, which is important when you're making cakes. And some people will ask me, what do I do when I don't have enough to cover my back? Well, a cake always has a back, and it's a matter of learning how to work with your back and knowing that's the back of your cake. The way you do this is by making another piece of the mold and cutting a piece that would fit in the area that you need. I suggest to make sure that your piece is cold because it will be easier to place. I didn't place mine in the fridge because I was in a hurry and I had to fuss a little bit with it, but as you can see, it still worked, it still fit there. Now you can use any tool that would cut the fondant in a straight line. I am using a smoother from Sugarworks to do this because they cut really well. You can also use a scraper. Make sure that you're cutting in an area where the two fondants are overlapping. That way you can take the excess on both sides and have a straight line. You will need to lift the edge a little bit and pull the fondant that is underneath, and you see you end up with a nice straight line that is completely finished and can be the back of your cake. This mold in particular, the Jubilee, comes with a little tiny mold to make one sequin at a time, and it's a neat one because you can put that all over your cake if you want to have that detail. I wanted to cover the top edge, so I decided to make my own sequins, and since I needed a bunch of them, I decided that using a tip number 12, which is a round tip, will be much faster. I made a hole with a needle and staggered them on top of the very edge of the cake, and that gave me a finished look. And here is the finished cake. As you can see, it looks beautiful. It is fast to make, and when you're making cakes, you want to work fast. So this is a way to finish a cake and make it really fast and have a product that everybody will love. I will post in the comment box below more information about this cake, and I will do a blog on all the things I did for it. So don't forget to visit my blog, visit me in Instagram and Facebook, share your work with me, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Until next time, ta-ta!